Okay, welcome back. It's go time. So today we actually get to start the first element of the M-word technique. It's one of my favorite breathing techniques, and I like to call it balancing breath. It's designed to integrate the right and left hemispheres of the brain, which is going to help your critical mind and your creative mind talk to each other. But before we start with that, I want you to really understand why meditation is so important, why it's so good for you, and why almost every doctor agrees that it's one of the best things that you could be doing for your health. So why is this? Stress. Right? Stress is not doing us any favors in the productivity or the performance department. And actually, doctors are calling stress the black plague of our century. And I don't think that that's an over-exaggeration. So if we really want to understand why the human body reacts to stress in the way that it does, we have to cut back in time about 10,000 years and say a saber-toothed tiger jumps out at you with the intent to kill. Now, your body's going to launch into a series of chemical reactions. The first thing that will happen is that your digestion will flood with acid to shut down digestion because you need all hands on deck to fight or flee this predatory attack. Now, that same acid is going to seep onto your skin so that you don't taste very good if you get bitten into by that tiger. Your blood is going to thicken and coagulate so that if you get bitten, you don't bleed to death. Your bladder and bowels will evacuate so that you can be light on your feet. So you know the nervous poos you get before you have a big presentation to make? That's your body trying to protect you. The other thing that happens is that your immune system goes to the back burner, because who cares if you're going to get cancer if you're about to be killed by a tiger? Our adrenaline levels increase, our cortisol levels increase, and this series of chemical reactions is very useful, it's very relevant if your demands are saber-toothed tigers. But if your demands are in-laws or red eyes or work deadlines or breakups, then this fight or flight stress reaction has actually become maladaptive. It's actually disallowing you from performing at the top of your game. And this is where meditation comes into play, right? Meditation is giving your body rest. It's getting rid of that adrenaline and cortisol, and it's flooding your brain with dopamine and serotonin, which are bliss chemicals. So not only do they feel amazing, but it's also making your body more alkaline in nature, which is very good for your health. Cool. So I know it's a little bit of science, a little bit of history, just so that you understand why meditation is impacting your brain and your body the way that it is. And now let's dive into the balancing breath. So this is an adaptation of an ancient Ayurvedic breath technique called pranayama breathing, but we just like to call it balancing breath. And we're going to be closing the right and left nostrils, which is going to help to let the right and left parts of the brain talk to each other. So you might look a little bit silly, so you might want to be in private for this, but you're just going to be closing your nostrils. So let's give a quick Cliff Notes version of what's happening in the left brain and what's happening in the right. Now, your left brain is in charge of the past and the future. It's in charge of critical thought, analytical thought, math, balancing your checkbooks, all really important activities, but for most of us, we've been taking our left brain to the gym for a very long time. We've been thinking, taking action, achieving, making money so we can be happy in the future. We think, we take action, we achieve, we make money so we can be happy in the future. And meanwhile, our poor little right brain is over here atrophying. Our poor little right brain is like, hey, I have a creative idea. I have a suggestion. And you're like, shut up, right brain. I got to think and take action and achieve and make money so I can be happy in the future. But if you actually look at a human brain, it splits right down the middle, 50-50. And I don't think that nature makes mistakes. I don't think that nature would have given us 50-50 if it wanted us to use 90-10. And so that's what we're going to be doing in balancing breath. We're going to be taking our right brain to the gym so that our right and left hemispheres of the brain can start to talk to each other. Now, the cool thing that happens is that over time of practicing this, you're going to be strengthening a part of your brain called the corpus callosum. Now, the corpus callosum is the thin white strip that connects the two parts of your brain. And we've known for a long time that meditators have thicker corpus callosums than non-meditators, but we weren't able to prove if it was causal or correlated. But now we know that the longer you meditate, the thicker this thing becomes, which I think is a pretty cool party trick that, sitting quietly in a chair could actually, change your brain. But why on earth would I want a fat corpus callosum? Well, everyone should, and here's why. So this corpus callosum quite literally is the bridge. It's the thing that allows you to be in the middle of a high demand, high stress situation and simultaneously having access to your creative problem solving ideas. So if your boss comes in and starts yelling at you, that corpus callosum is going to be the thing that's going to allow you to come up with a creative solution even when it's go time. Or here's a better example. You know, if you get into a fight with your partner or your roommate and it starts to get pretty heated, and then eventually you start crying or you shut down and you retreat to the bedroom, and then about 2 hours later you start coming up with all these hilarious, witty comebacks, and you're like, why? Why couldn't I have thought of that in the moment? Well, my hypothesis is that the thicker your corpus callosum is, the easier it is for you to come up with all those witty comebacks when it counts, right? So that's what we're going to be up to today. We're going to strengthen this corpus callosum and settle down the brain and body, almost like we're priming it for the meditation. So today we're going to dive into the balancing breath. So before we begin, it's a good idea to go ahead and tell your roommates, tell your partner that you're going to need a little me time. Close out all the other windows on your computer. Make sure your phone is on silent. And for this style of meditation, I recommend that you're seated with your back supported but your head free. So not lying down, not floating in the middle of your room like a Himalayan yogi, just back supported, head free, in a comfortable chair. So as we start to settle in, we're having a seat with our back supported, our head free. I want to give you a gentle reminder that you don't have to give your mind a command to stop thinking. You're allowed to have thoughts during this. It's the nature of the mind to think. So we're simply going to be doing this breathing technique, priming the brain for meditation. No need to be a frozen statue, just comfort is key. Cool. You settled? So now I'd love for you to take your right hand, and we're going to take our thumb and our ring finger, and we're going to be closing the right nostril with the thumb and then closing the left nostril with the ring finger. And this pattern is simply going to go out through the left, in through the left, and then we switch sides and we go out through the right, in through the right, but we're going to do it together. So settle down, back supported, head free. Take your right hand and take your thumb and close your right nostril. Really good. And now exhale through your left nostril. Inhale through the left. And switching, closing your left nostril with your ring finger and exhaling through the right nostril. So good. Inhale through the right. And then switching sides, closing your right nostril with your thumb and exhaling all the way on the left. Inhaling through the left and letting this be a big, delicious inhale all the way to your full capacity. And then switching sides and exhaling through the right. Really good. You can go ahead and close your eyes if you haven't already. And let's inhale through the right nostril all the way to full. And when you get to the top of the inhale, take one more sip of air. And then switch sides and exhale all the way to empty on the left side. Float there at the bottom of the exhale for just a moment, and then allow the lungs to fill back up with air. All the way to the top, taking one more sip of air, floating there at the top, and then switching sides and just letting that air fall out of the right nostril. Floating again at the bottom of the exhale, and then inhaling all the way to full. The biggest breath you've taken all day, letting your lungs fill in all directions. And then switching sides and just letting your lungs empty, almost on their own, all the way to the bottom of the exhale. And you can start to take this in your own time. What I'm interested in is that you're inhaling all the way to full, and then you exhale and let the air just fall out. So you're waking up the simultaneity of effort and surrender. And we'll start to engage our imagination into this. And on your next inhale, I want you to imagine that the breath is coming in through the base of your spine. And as you inhale, this breath and this energy is traveling up through the spine. And as you exhale, you send this breath and this energy right out through the middle of your forehead. So we're keeping the eyes closed. We're closing the right and left nostrils. We're simply awakening our imagination. So as we inhale, we're bringing this breath in through the base of the spine. And as our lungs fill, we imagine this energy is coming up through the spine. And we exhale and we send this breath and this energy right out through the middle of the forehead, creating a beautiful cycle and flow of energy. We're waking up that creative energy and that sexual energy that lives at the base of our spine, and we're pulling that up and then sending it out right through the middle of our forehead, using that creative energy to send it out into our day and all the things that we want to create. Really good. So we'll do a few more cycles, letting these be so deep and delicious. Noticing how the body softens as you exhale. and really allowing that breath to expand the body in all directions as you inhale. So good. And the next time you come to an exhale on the left-hand side, you can keep your eyes closed, but drop your hands into your lap. I want you to take a moment here and just check in with your body. Notice if it feels even subtly different from when you began. Noticing how good it feels to let your blood and your organs be oxygenated. Noticing that by closing our nostrils, we've actually slowed down our metabolic rate, which is the rate with which the body consumes oxygen. So this is a great way to prime the body for meditation. So I want you to take a moment and give yourself a big internal high five. Congratulate yourself on committing to this, for showing up for yourself. And in your own time, whenever you're ready, we can start to slowly, gently open the eyes. That wasn't so bad, was it? So if you've been afraid of meditation, you can see that it's just simple, step by step, bit by bit. And now you've learned part 1 of the M-word technique, which is the balancing breath. It's really designed to just slow everything down. You can think about this like pulling the bow back on a bow and arrow, and then just letting your body surrender into the meditation. So tomorrow I'm going to teach you a technique called Come to Your Senses. And it's a mindfulness technique, and this is something you can do eyes closed, and it's also something you can do eyes open. It's one of my favorites. So enjoy your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.